Lust has been ruining our lives recently. It treats you like a piece of meat. It's using you when it feels like it. That's it. I hate relapsing. I'm not going to choke the chicken until I get a girlfriend. Wow, that's a bold claim. I'm sure that's going to work. No! Look, I've recently come to the conclusion that normal self-improvement and no-fap shit is completely the wrong way to stop wanking, alright? Around late 2020, I was a serial wanker, alright? Not including other blokes, literally just me, okay? And I suddenly had this thought, surely this can't actually be good for me, spunking 3 times a night. I had already heard about no-fap and I tried it once with a friend. And around early 2021, I went on my first proper no-fap streak and I got to 88 days, alright? I needed the will from the gods though, because it never happened again. Ever since early 2021, I became fixated on getting back to successful streaks, binge watching YouTube videos about semen retention that definitely contained useful information, but it never worked for me. No matter how much I focused on NoFap, or learned new information, or started a new streak 3 times a day, nothing could stop me from going on them naughty websites. Lust is a scary thing, and it still is, to be fair. Would I ever stop being a briefcase wanker? Well, it did take until late 2023 when I started this YouTube channel, started getting my life in order and working out, becoming obsessed with the game of, learning how YouTube works, for me to slowly build up this new formula in my head for not having a lust or wanking problem anymore. There is not a single ounce of my brain that views it as an actual problem anymore. I no longer have that mental suffering that comes with practicing NoFap, and I still feel like I get all the benefits. It actually begins with my personal issue with the online space of self-improvement. I'm coming after them, alright? Self-improvement content has made my life so much better in so many ways, but I believe the way it's packaged to young guys like me is fundamentally flawed because it focuses way more on the habits rather than the goals. Look, what I mean by this is, when I first learned self-improvement, I focused on just starting the habits I was told to. I lifted weights more, I did a little bit of meditation, I read more books, and that's all great, but I could stick to the gym and working out, but just learning about self-improvement had no real effect on the chaotic emotion of my lust. So let me explain it like this. Lust is a wild emotion, and in order for me to personally tame it, lust needs a funnel of focus, a genuine emotional reason for me to want to give it up and use it instead productively to fuel my, personal endeavors. And this is what self-improvement doesn't really talk about near enough. This year, I accidentally made the switch from being on self-improvement to this completely new way of life I've named shadow growth. Shadow growth is the lifestyle of having a goal that is so large and meaningful to you emotionally that it casts a shadow so large over you that you have to grow to become the type of man that can achieve the goal. In other words, self-improvement usually tells you to do certain habits for yourself. Shadow growth simplifies this. It tells me to only do the habits that will turn me into the man necessary to achieve the goal that I'm pursuing. You don't improve for yourself, you improve for your goal. For example, I'm not just meditating every morning because it's good to meditate, even though meditating is great. I'm meditating because it will give me the focus of the man needed to hit my goals. So you might be wondering, where does lust and wanking come into this, and how will shadow growth benefit me in this area? Shadow growth gives every single bad habit in your life a strong enough reason to be stopped, to the point that instead of you subconsciously whipping out your knob and spunking before you've realised you've even done it, the opposite happens. When you're shadow growing, you subconsciously refrain from doing it because your sexual control becomes a necessary part of your mission. If wanking doesn't align with what will help you hit your goal, eventually it stops happening. Imagine we were drawing a circle. The circle represents you. Self-improvement tells you all of these things like stop wanking, start the gym, start meditating. But because most people do self-improvement for its own sake, you progress like this. There's no direction, alright? That lack of direction manifests itself as low motivation. And even worse, sometimes you're doing habits that are good, but you don't even know if they're useful to you. Like, what's the point? Shadow growth is a circle. You, with another circle in the distance, your huge, emotionally powerful goal. Suddenly, you have a motivating roadmap toward a desired destination. You ask yourself, what type of man do I need to become to reach this destination, right? You list out every habit needed to develop the skill set and mentality necessary, and now you only have daily habits that are relevant to your life. That's when your lust emotion all starts to subconsciously align with your desired goal, and controlling lust just becomes quite easy. Can you not see how powerful it is to have a strong reason to stop wanking rather than not wanking for not wanking's sake? To conclude, shadow growth puts your goal before everything. You're forced to become the type of man that can hit your goal, and therefore, one by one, good habits begin to form and bad habits start to disappear. This all doesn't happen on the first day you set your goal. You learn how to develop these traits and these skills and the willpower and discipline over time. And the closer you get to fulfilling the person you need to become, eventually you just stop doing the bad habits too, and you won't suffer with a problem anymore, alright? I am enjoying my shadow growth, and I hope you join me on this journey too. I'll make a full guide one day if it's something that does sound interesting to you, alright? I'm only going to do it if it's helpful for you. I hope you found this video valuable, guys, alright? Click the video on the screen if you want to hang out with me for a bit longer. You are one step closer.